Hello, and welcome to Day by Day True Crime Stories, the podcast where we explore a different crime or justice milestone from this day in history. I'm your host, Kona Gallagher, and today is July 24th. On this day in 1946, a brutal crime rocked the quiet community of Flower Hill, New York. Inside a stately home on a peaceful street, Marjorie Church Logan, wife of a former mayor, was murdered. Her daughter, Marjorie Jean, was shot and sexually assaulted. It was a crime that shattered a family, stunned a town, and exposed a terrifying truth. Sometimes, the greatest danger comes from those we think we know. Today, we're discussing the Logan estate murder. Let's get started. In the mid-1940s, Flower Hill was everything you'd expect from a wealthy North Shore Long Island village. Manicured lawns, ivy-covered homes, and a close-knit community where everyone knew everyone. One of the town's most respected residents was William John Logan. He had served as Flower Hill's mayor during the Great Depression and was admired for his steady leadership. Outside of politics, he was a Yale graduate and a well-connected investment banker with ties to institutions like Guaranty Trust and Columbia University. His wife, Marjorie Church Logan, was just as admired. She was known for her grace, generosity, and dedication to charitable work. Together, they had one daughter. The Logan estate on Bonnie Heights Road was elegant but understated. Surrounded by trees and set back from the road, it offered the kind of privacy that most families could only dream of. Like many upper-class families of the time, the Logans employed a small staff to help run the household. Gardeners, a chauffeur, a butler. These were people they trusted, people they believed they knew. It was a different time. People didn't always lock their doors, and safety felt like a given. But that feeling of security was an illusion. And on the morning of July 24th, 1946, it was violently broken. That morning, just after sunrise, 23-year-old Ward Beecher Carraway, who had worked as a chauffeur and butler at a nearby estate, forced his way into the Logan home. He wasn't a stranger to the neighborhood. In fact, he knew it well. And that made what happened next even more chilling. Armed with a .32 caliber revolver, Carraway came face to face with Marjorie in the living room. He demanded money, and when she didn't move quickly enough, he shot her at close range. The shot rang out across the otherwise quiet morning. Neighbors later said that they heard the sound echo down the street. Then, Carraway made his way upstairs to Marjorie Jean's room. She'd been woken by the noise. He shot her twice. Once in the chest and once in the arm, and then he sexually assaulted her. But somehow, despite her injuries, Marjorie Jean managed to crawl out of bed and escape through the back door. She made it outside and began calling for help. A nearby house painter, Theodore Click, heard her cries. He ran to her, carried her to safety, and called the police. He stayed with her until help arrived. Doctors would later say that her survival was a miracle. Her quick thinking and determination are what saved her life. But by the time the police arrived, her mother Marjorie was dead, and Carraway was already gone. What police found inside the Logan home was devastating, but even in pain and shock, Marjorie Jean was able to help. From her hospital bed, she described her attacker, a man she had recognized from the neighborhood. Her description sent investigators looking into domestic staff and laborers with ties to the area. And very quickly, one name rose to the top: Ward Beecher Carraway. Carraway had recently been fired from a nearby estate after complaints about inappropriate behavior. He also had a criminal record for indecent exposure and theft. An arrest warrant was issued the same day. Police launched a full-scale manhunt that stretched from Long Island into New York City. Train stations, shelters, and boarding houses were all searched. The case was front-page news, and the community was on edge. Then, 8 days after the murder, on August 1st, Carraway was found in Harlem. He was posing as a day laborer and was just trying to blend in. When police came, he didn't fight, and under questioning, he confessed. He said that he'd gone to the Logan home to rob them, and when Marjorie didn't comply, he panicked. He admitted to shooting both mother and daughter and to the sexual assault. His arrest brought relief, but it also brought anger, because for so many in Flower Hill, it wasn't just the crime, it was a sense of betrayal. This was someone that they'd let into their homes, someone they trusted, and now they had to face what that trust had cost. Once Carraway was in custody, the legal process moved fast. He was indicted on multiple charges: murder, attempted murder, rape, and robbery. Prosecutors made their intentions clear. They were going to pursue the death penalty. The trial began in late 1946 and drew intense media coverage. The courtroom was packed. And then came the moment no one could forget. Marjorie Jean took the stand. Still recovering from her injuries, she sat in front of a crowded courtroom and told her story. She identified Carraway as the man who had killed her mother and attacked her. The jury didn't need long. After only a few hours, they returned with a unanimous verdict: guilty on all counts. Carraway was sentenced to death. And on June 26, 1947, less than a year after the crimes, he was executed at Sing Sing prison. He reportedly expressed remorse before his death. But for many, especially those who knew the Logans, his words didn't change a thing. The Logan family tragedy left a deep scar on Flower Hill and on Long Island as a whole. This was a place where people had felt safe, where doors were left unlocked and staff were treated like family. But after that day, everything changed. Still, it's the personal cost that lingers. Marjorie Jean survived, but the trauma she endured changed her life forever. She didn't speak publicly about what had happened. Instead, she chose to live quietly, away from the spotlight. Yet the strength she showed, running for help, guiding police, facing her attacker in court, it was nothing short of extraordinary. The Logan estate, once a symbol of grace and stability, became something else, a reminder of what was lost. Over time, the story faded from the headlines, but it never truly disappeared. Local historians still revisit the case, not just because of its horror, but because of what it revealed about race, privilege, and justice in post-war America. Today, the murder of Marjorie Church Logan is remembered as one of Long Island's darkest moments. But it's also remembered for the strength of a young girl who, despite unimaginable pain, refused to be silenced and helped bring a killer to justice. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Day by Day True Crime Stories. If you found today's story compelling, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. It'll help us grow. And be sure to join me again tomorrow as we explore another significant event in true crime history. Until then, stay safe and remember that behind every headline is a life worth remembering. Day by Day True Crime Stories is a Little Monster production.
Hey, you can do it!